Hi, and welcome to InFocus. This is Jabbar Al-Ubaidi. In this episode, I have with me Evelyn Delotis, Deb Snow, and Joanne Brindley. Joanne Brindley and her friends, through her church, prepared food for Brockton homeless. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Evelyn. And let's start the conversation.
The LYNN Ministries stands it's an acronym for Love Your Neighbor Now.
Oh, okay. So this is actually great. This is good for me. Okay. Yeah. So would you repeat that again?
So LYNN Ministries, LYNN, stands for Love Your Neighbor Now.
Love your neighbor now. So correct. I would like to, if I've not done that, I would like to start loving my neighbor now. Tell me about that.
So we have been in existence for 10 years. We started serving our homeless and at-risk neighbors in Brockton 10 years ago. This is our 10th year in Brockton. After a few years after that, we expanded to Attleboro and then again expanded into Taunton. So we're actually serving specifically in 3 small cities outside of the Boston area. And in addition to that, we respond to different neighbors, Weymouth or Rentham and Foxborough and Plainville, anywhere where people get word of who we are and what we do, we'll get phone calls to help serve the need. What we're focused on is supplying some physical needs for those that are experiencing homelessness, because there are physical needs for sure. There's clothing, there's bedding, there's tents and sleeping mats and all of those things. So those are the physical needs, but really our purpose is to work towards spiritual needs, to let them know that they are loved the way God loves us. They are made in His image. They are beautiful people. They have hopes and they have dreams, that they have a presence. The population that we serve has spent a very long time feeling invisible. Socially, nobody wants to interact with them. They're scared of them, they're dirty, they have bad habits. This is the normal expectation of what this population is like. And our job is to help the people that we're reaching out to understand that we don't see them that way, that we see them as beautiful people with hopes and dreams and beautiful hearts. We strive to redesign dignity for them, to help them see that they can be respected.
Designing a dignity, I mean, when you say designing a dignity, don't they have dignity already?
I think by nature we do, but society strips it from them.
In what sense?
In what sense? So they're reduced to going through soup lines. Like back in the Depression, you know, they're standing in line to receive a cup of soup or a prepared meal with no choices. They're given what they're given. They don't get to pick and choose what they want. That's a God-given right to be able to choose what color shirt you want, what you want on your meal plate. But when you're standing in a soup line, you don't get those options. You don't get those choices. Dignity is about respect. It's about eye contact. It's about somebody knowing your name and caring that you're breathing. It's about the kind of ways we speak to each other and feeling as though you make a difference or have a purpose in life. And so often the people that we serve have the feeling that society doesn't expect anything from them except to be dirty and noisy and disrespectful as, you know, sloth out on the street. And over time, when you're told over and over again that you have no value, you start to believe that of yourself. And the reality is that every person on this earth has value. Every person on this earth has a purpose. They may not have discovered what that is yet, but they have a purpose. They can fulfill a purpose. But their circumstances and their background, you know, dysfunctional families, you know, again, the communities that they might surround themselves in are intent to bring them down and help them to remain submissive And so when you feel that that's the way you're being treated, that that's all you're valued at, you start to believe it. And when you start to believe those things, you start searching and seeking for more for yourself,
So
because
let's
it's
see.
a
Let's
never-ending
let's hear
battle.
let's hear how Joanne and Evelyn react to what you just said.
Well,
Evelyn.
right now I'm in tears because of all that Deb pointed out. I met Joanne at the university. We were sitting beside each other when we were being assigned our conversation partners about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And we got chatting, and I discovered she recognized my name as one of the dresser girl women. And she told me about the mats, the sleep mats that they crochet. And from that time on, we stayed connected because I think we both had distinct purposes. I loved what she was doing. And I grew up in Brockton. And it just touched my heart. So I'm going to let Joanne take over a little bit from there. I don't want to monopolize, but I can add more later.
Joanne.
Oh, well, I absolutely agree. Deb is absolutely my mentor. And it's just amazing when you ask. My group, Sleeping Mats with the Homeless, has had the absolute privilege and honor to go out with Deb and LYNN Ministries for over a year now. And it is just an eye opener to see what it's like when you just remember people's names, and when you are able to remember from time to time to time, just tiny little things, maybe their cat's names, or a prayer request, or just something they had told you from the time before. Evelyn and the wonderful dresser girl ladies have been so gracious to us and given us, I think it's over 600 masks now. And we have just been the conduit, if you will, of passing out their wonderful masks, and just to see how God uses, it just never ceases to amaze me how God will use something as silly as a design on a fabric to bless these people, because it will remind them of their mom or their sister or a childhood memory, or just something back that when they were, when they had dignity, when they were the person they once were, and it encourages them. Or there was this one gentleman who believed that in 2 weeks he could get a job, and we had masks that we had originally gotten from Evie, and they were kind of, I thought they were too St. Patrick-y, and so I was actually going to put them aside, because I thought, oh gosh, because now it was in June. I thought, oh gosh, these are too dated. And I was going to put them aside. But thankfully, God doesn't ask me for advice, because this gentleman saw them, and he was Irish. And he was like, oh, and there were 2 of them. And he grabbed them and he's like, oh, please, can I take these? Because I'm Irish. And this means that I'm really going to do well on my job, and I'm going to get the job. And I thought, wow. You know, it's a good thing God doesn't listen to me, because those were the 2 masks that this kid needed to encourage him, to remind him that God was on his side, that these 2 masks that Joanne thought were way too St. Patrick-y were the ones that were there just for this kid in June. And it just reminds me that even when we see them at their worst possible moment, that just a friendly smile, a friendly word, like Deb says, eye contact, just letting them know that God hasn't forgotten them, that God is there, that God still loves them, and He cares. If I may, way back, it was like the end of March or beginning of April, Evie had shown us an ear saver, a plastic ear saver that someone at the college, right, had printed out for you.
Yes.
And she had shown it to us, and she loved it because of her hearing aid, and she put the elastic around it rather than her ear. And I thought, wow, that was really cool. Well, the same week, somebody had given me one. And I thought, well, that's really cool. I'll have to try it. Well, silly me, you would think all these years of having curly hair, I would have known better. Well, I tried it, and I happened to try it on a day that was kind of misty, and my hair just curled around every single finger of that ear saver. Well, I'm sure it didn't really, but it seems like it took hours because every hair on my head curled around it. It took forever to take it off. And many a disparaging word was heard as I tried to untangle it from my hair. Well, I just threw it in my car, and there it sat for a good 2-3 months.
So,
2 Sundays ago, this gentleman we were giving masks to, and he wanted masks, but he explained to us, I'm sorry, but my ear had been cut off and I can't put an elastic around my ear. I had totally forgotten about this ear saver. And I suddenly was reminded, and I was like, oh, I have something for you. And people call my car the Mary Poppins car because I always seem to have something in it. And I ran to it and I brought it out to him and showed it to him. And I said, God has been saving this for you. All these months, totally forgot about it, showed him how it worked, gave him several masks, and he was so excited. And I got to tell him, God knows about you. He knows about your ear. He loves you. He cares about you. And
so
he
now,
thank you.
so now, how you connect this, I call social service, with a spiritual connection in terms of looking inside oneself to fight two things. One is, as you all mentioned, that people, they don't see them like in a full, as a full human being, full persons, and racism, whatever that form of racism. So let's go back to Deb.
I think that one of the things that LYNN Ministries has stood firmly in is to pass no judgment. When we are out serving, we are serving everyone. We are serving white people. We are serving Asian people. We are serving Black people. We are serving Portuguese. We serve Spanish speaking. We serve English speaking. Our job is not to judge. If they're an addict, if they're a gambler, if they're a businessman who's down on his luck, if they have children, if they are single, if they're married. It is not our job to judge. I leave that judgment to God because he's going to judge me. He's going to judge them. That's not my job. What God put in our heart is to just love people. That's what we all need to stand on, is to be loved. And so our approach is that because we go without judgment, we see everybody the same. We treat everybody the same. Everybody gets the same opportunities. Everybody is allotted the same amount of respect. And there's such a lack of that in our communities that I think that draws them to us. We speak to everybody about the reasons that we're there. You know, you're such good people. We hear this all the time. You're such good church people. No, we're all good people. We've just been allotted an opportunity to come and befriend you and to love you as you come and to share the things that have been provided to us to share.
You know, sorry to interrupt you, but how you going to teach love and good behavior to people outside the church, outside a mosque, outside a temple or synagogue? I mean, how do you do that? Where can you find, or what are the ways that will separate this four letters, LOFE, love, and dignity and respect?
I think at its very basic, it's just the way we treat people. This is not something that separates me from the next guy, or maybe it does separate us from the next guy. When we introduce ourselves, we're very physical, and this pandemic has been a challenge for all of us because you're not allowed to hug, you're not allowed to handshake, you're not allowed to have that physical contact that is so necessary to the human state. So, you know, we do our best to approach with confidence that they understand we care about them, that we're not just giving them handouts. Nobody wants a handout, that we are offering what's been given to us to provide to them as a way of making a connection. So when we offer a meal, is there anything that we can serve you with that's not just about the food? Is there anything that's breaking your heart right now that we can pray over for you? Do you have a family member that's in need that we could either serve or that we can just keep in prayer? How can we help that spiritual gap to let you know that? And then the thing I think that's so special about what we do is that we write those prayer requests down and we commit to praying for them. And so the next week or the next time that we see them, we have it in a book. We'll remember, we'll ask them, how'd that prayer request go? Did you get the job? How's your mom feeling? Did she get through her surgery okay? And they are shocked to see that we've committed to doing that and that we remember. So I think making our interactions personal, it's not just about a soup kitchen line where you're handing them a meal and saying, okay, go, get out of my face. It's about personal, like I love them. Our teams love them. And they know that based on the way that we interact with them. So if we're standing outside a mosque, our behavior towards them is no different than what I would hope the people who attend that mosque would behave like to a stranger, any stranger. God didn't say, walk on the other side of the street when there's a stranger approaching you. He said, interact, make eye contact, ask a name, really care about what their status in life is. That's where we make a difference. It's not about the things that they get, the interactions that we have.
So Joanne, can you share with us a story that someone had something in their minds, but after they interacted with you and with your wonderful community, and of course, the very appreciative service that you're doing to the community, that they really change their behavior and their mind? Go ahead, Joanne. Is it it's not difficult questions.
No,
Evelyn, you can jump on anyone, just because I want to just so our audience, they can enjoy some of these interactions. Is really important.
So while you're thinking, Joanne, let me share. It's not uncommon when people are hungry and they've been hungry for days because the soup kitchens are all closed. The food pantries right now during this pandemic, they're all closed. So they never know when they're going to get a meal. They never know when they're going to have food in their belly. So when they come to us, they're hungry, it's hot out, so there's tension built into not having a place to sleep, not having safety, not having a full belly. And so there's a lot of tension that can be built up when they come to see us. And we've had women, there's a woman, Janice, who definitely has some mental health issues. And she has approached us very agitated and excitable and demanding. And so we have to approach her with gentleness and forgiveness and kindness, but yet keep accountability. And so she was very demanding about the meal and very demanding about how much she could get and very demanding about how it was going to be presented on the plate, like a little bit in her minds, a little bit silly. So I drew her aside and we're like, okay, Janice, I understand what your needs are, but I'm going to ask you to just calm yourself for a moment. Take a deep breath in. This is not who you want us to see. The person that you're presenting yourself as right now is not who you really are. You're agitated because there's stuff that's going on that we don't understand. So let's take a moment and breathe together. And may I offer to pray for you? And we just stepped to the side of the line. We took a minute to pray. She calmed herself. And then, I'm so sorry, everybody. She apologized to everybody on our team. I'm so sorry, that's not the way I wanted to behave. And it can be that simple. It's that, again, taking a moment to just say, okay, we recognize you. I know that you're hurting. I understand that you're stressed. Let's step aside and address that, and then we'll go back to interacting. And it happens time and time and time again. That's not who they want to be. That's just how the world expects them to be. So that's how they behave.
Evelyn?
I just wanted, one of the questions you asked was, how do they expect to expand what they're doing in terms of people's knowledge? It's through you, Jabbar, doing this program and putting it on the Bridgewater cable station. When people have a chance to see this and they know that Brockton in particular is like 10 miles away from where they live, they will probably have a different understanding of what it is like to not have a home. And I want to go back to Joanne because I'm hoping that she brought one of her sleep mats to hold up to show you a little bit of it today. These are made out of plastic bags.
Shopping bags.
Pardon me?
Shopping bags.
Shopping, yep, the ones you get when you go to the grocery store. And they're all cut up into strips and they're crocheted together. And I'll let Joanne tell you about the dimensions and the number of bags, because plastic bags are a real issue in our society right now.
Okay, Joanne?
Well, quickly, they are wider than a twin bed. When they're done, they're between 5.5 and 6 feet long. They take between 400 and 500 bags to complete. And they are somewhat of a moisture barrier. They are a cushion off of the hard ground. In the wintertime, they help to retain the body heat because you're wrapping up in that much plastic. In the summer, they double over so that they are double the cushion. They can wrap all the way around you. And for some reason, bugs don't like the plastic, so they help to keep the bugs off of them as well.
And they're very lightweight for carrying when they're from place to place.
400 to 500 bags, Jabbar.
Amazing.
And how many hours, Joanne? It's like 40 hours of crocheting to make one mat.
That's what it says. I would be really bummed out if I took the time to say 100 things. But
are you running out of time, Jabbar?
I have 4 minutes.
Okay. Deb, I think it was you that Joanne told me about, because the homeless did not have toilets and you created. Can you tell?
So we have been, with the pandemic and everyone being outside in exponential numbers, we have created a toilet that's a portable piece for them to take with them out of 5-gallon buckets, and a pool noodle. So we slice the pool noodle so that they can put it on the bucket and have something soft to sit on. We provide them with plastic bags so that they can collect their waste and to be able to throw it out into a dumpster that they might find. But, you know, again, once again, dignity. You know, when you're living outside and you're elbow to elbow with the next guy, how do you maintain that basic human need of dignity when you're using the restroom? So that's been a really big, we've given out over 40, 50 buckets this season alone. So
It's
it's
an amazing story. It's amazing.
humbling.
Thank you. Thank you for your service, and thank you for this really to show the side of our humanity. Sometimes it's invisible, and we need to show it up and feel proud of it. So I would like to give you a chance to give me short message to our kids, to our community, to our audience, and we'll start with Evelyn, please.
Well, what I'd like to say is we live in Bridgewater. It's a very nice town. I am not positive, but I have been told that there are homeless people right here in Bridgewater. But I want us in our community to become more aware of people in need all over, and do anything you can to help them. Even a smile and a good morning is sometimes all they need.
Thank you, Joanne.
No one ever grows up saying, woohoo, I want to be homeless when I grow up. Usually something very, very terrible happens.
Okay,
and
Deb?
My answer is find a way to serve your community. It will bless you beyond measure. Everybody needs something sometime. Find a way, whatever it is, to serve your community. It'll make a difference in your life.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Evelyn. And thank you for watching InFocus. It's an amazing conversation, and have a good day.
Thank you, Jabbar.
Thank you.